Hello all, and in this video I'm sharing all the first-time home buyer programs in Pennsylvania in 2022, and we're going to do it now. Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Gregory Martire, your local real estate expert here. We put out a lot of epic content in the greater Philadelphia area and Pennsylvania, New Jersey too. Got you covered in and out of the city. If you're thinking about moving to Philadelphia, or you're thinking about selling in anywhere in the world, hit subscribe, hit like. All right, let's get to it. All right, so today we're talking about all or most or a lot of the first-time homebuyer programs in Pennsylvania. We are talking at the beginning of 2022, so I first want to say what makes you a first-time homebuyer. Now, in Pennsylvania, you can take advantage of some of these programs even if you already own a home. So the ins and outs of it is best described by your lender, your broker, or hint, hint, wink, wink, your realtor. So let's talk about the PHFA loan. The Pennsylvania Housing Finance Association, I think is what it's pronounced, or how or why it's called PHFA. This offers a down payment assistance to you. So essentially you could get into the house for nearly nothing down. Not to be confused with FHA, Pennsylvania's premier first-time homebuyer program. Now, there's not a ton of restriction as far as county or income, but there are some restrictions. So if you'd like a full list there, we will put it in. We'll put that in the comments, and we'll get that information out to you. Okay, so next up is the FHA loan. Now, that is a national program, and this is probably the best first-time homebuyer program out there. And why is it? Because it's the least amount of money down for the most amount of house. You only need about 3.5% of the price of the house. You can borrow the rest. Yes, you can borrow the closing costs. There's no real restriction on location. It can also be coupled with some other financing, some secondary financing to help you perhaps with some other closing costs or with some down payment. There's a bit of restriction on the appraisal itself, so they don't want to just give out an FHA loan on a house that needs a lot of work. But there is an FHA 203K loan if you're looking to borrow money and fix it up. So FHA comes in on our list. Not we're doing an order, but definitely high up on our list of great programs for first-time home buyers. All right, so now we've got the conventional loan. Now this is also a national loan, conventional loans. This is your typical standard 20% down, but guess what? You do not need 20% down for a conventional loan. Some lenders, some brokers, speaking of great brokers, our friends at North Star Mortgage will be happy to help you with this, will allow you to have 0% down. That's right, 0% down conventional. Now, it's most common is 5% down or even 3% down or 10% down, but you do not need 20 or 25% down to get a conventional loan. You can also get some seller's assist conventionally. So if you're in the market for a house and you're interested in a great first-time homebuyer program, the conventional loan may be right for you. All right, next up we got VA. So Veterans Association, Veterans Administration, I should say. So VA, and thank you all for your service in the armed forces. VA loan is literally $0. You can borrow all the money. You don't need to put any money down. You can borrow all the money for closing costs. You do need to have served in the armed forces. Now, there is some confusion sometimes is saying, hey, can we do it if we've been in the Coast Guard? You have to have served in the Coast Guard for at least 2 years. Any other way, any other service, any amount of time will make you eligible for the veterans loan. Also, thank you for your service. There is some restriction on that appraisal again. They're going to do an inspection. So they're going to need the house to be in a certain kind of shape, but I've seen a lot of places pass the VA inspection, get you guys in there, get you gals in there. But the VA loan is certainly for first-time home buyer, but you do not need to be a first-time home buyer to get the veterans loan. A quick aside about the VA loan, and most of these loans are actually backed by the association. So the Veterans Administration will actually back the loan. They will guarantee it to the end lender. Same thing with FHA, backed federally, conventional loans as well. All right, moving right along to USDA. That's right. Did you hear that? Now look, the USDA loan is not for rural anymore. It is for rural, and it's the best for that. And that's a national loan as well, backed by the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture. Now, the USDA, and there's a website they have you can actually plug in, actually allows for a lot of areas in the cities as well. Now, I'm not saying every part of Philadelphia will allow you to have a USDA loan, but you can get into a house for zero down and borrow all or most of the closing costs as well. So it's an excellent product to use for a first-time home buyer. They do have some income restrictions and they do have some credit restrictions as well. You have to be above a 580, but even if you're close to that, we can get you above that. And credit repair is pretty easy, but that's for another video. Now, the income restriction I mentioned isn't necessarily a restriction on how much money you make. It's just how much money they will loan you versus how much you actually make. So I want to mention next about PMI. Now, there's a couple of programs in our state and nationally as well. I think it's at HFA here in PA, but PMI, Private Mortgage Insurance, allows you to put less than 20% down. I want to be official here. You do not need 20% down to buy a house. In fact, as I just stated and showed you clearly, you could have $0 and 0 cents and we can get you into a place. So there are some programs that will allow for less expensive PMI, private mortgage insurance. So PMI comes into play when you do not put 20% down. It's a portion of your payment which will cover the difference of what you put down up to 20%. So it insures the private mortgage. Now, it insures the end lender for that 20% amount. Gets you into a house, keep your payment where you want it, 100% financing. You heard it here. Okay, so now going in line and along with first-time homebuyer programs, each county in Pennsylvania and nationally as well have specific housing authorities. They also have grants. Now, we could go down the rabbit hole of grants and monies available, but I want to specifically talk about most of the housing authorities in the Pennsylvania area, in the greater Philadelphia area. They have loans. You go through a program, you take a class. It's not a long class and it doesn't cost you any money. They will actually give you $10,000 in some cases, which is forgivable if you stay in the house for more than 7 years. Now, if you decide you have to move or you want to move or resell it, you will owe the money back. However, it's a forgivable second loan, which makes you a stronger buyer because in this case, you don't necessarily need a seller's assist. You can actually use, which inevitably is grant money from the housing authority. So locally to Philadelphia, we've got Philadelphia County Housing Authority, Montgomery County, and Chester County as well. And they do have to buy the house in the county where the money is coming from, but it's an excellent program. It works very well. They work easily along with your current lender or our lender. You can pick your own lender. You're not really pigeonholed to do that. There are a ton of other integral programs within our state as well. Now, if you're a person with disabilities or you have a special circumstance, there's always a program or a certain available help for you depending on your current situation. So it always helps to ask. Now, these programs and many grant programs and the like change often, and the money can sometimes run out pretty quickly. But it's always good to apply or at least get on the waiting list. There's an excellent program right in our area. It's called First Front Door. Now, some of the major banks are big players in this realm. If it is your first front door, as you could imagine, they are willing to give you $5,000 cash, or they could give you up to $10,000, and a lot of them are doing these secondary loans, which are forgivable if you end up staying in the house for a certain amount of time. Now, there are a lot of income restrictions and there are a lot of credit restrictions, so there's a lot of minutia going on with all of these programs that we talked about. But the best thing to do is let's have a quick call. There's no obligation, but the best thing to do is put us together, and we can together decide on what is going to be the best program for you. What if you said, I already bought a house, I want to save some money? Well, there's the Homestead Act. Well, the Homestead actually gives money for grants, but also will allow tax credit. So if you haven't applied for the Homestead Act, you better. I don't know what you're waiting for. If you're looking for the link for that, give us a call, shoot me a text. I'd be happy to help you with that as well. So aside from the various programs that we talked about today, there are a ton of local programs that aren't necessarily state funded or nationally funded. Every bank in America and every bank in Pennsylvania has a first-time homebuyer program. Maybe they're going to be connected in with the FHA loan, but they always have some incentive. They always have some reason to want you to work with them. Our friends at North Star Mortgage, they've got some great programs available as they work with hundreds of different banks to find you the best program, to find you the best deal, get you the best rate, get you the least amount of money out of your pocket. There are also plenty of employer assisted programs. So check with your boss, all right? Give him a call. Give your manager a call. Tell her you want a deal. There are a lot of possibilities that we're not thinking of necessarily. Maybe you work for a small company or a large company, but there are a lot of groups that we can get involved with depending on where you work or what type of business you're in, what industry you serve, to move forward with getting you some help, some great aid, and some great assistance. Well, since we're talking about buying homes, if you haven't already done so, download our Before You Buy Home Buying Guide, which is found in the notes below. This guide is absolutely super helpful, super critical if you're thinking of buying in Pennsylvania and really anywhere in the world. And if you are thinking of considering coming to this area, give us a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, send us a carrier pigeon, send us a fax. We still get snail mail here, and we're glad to help and glad to do it. And if you're thinking of moving to Philadelphia City, check out our Living in Philadelphia, What Are the Neighborhoods video. We went in depth on a bunch of the neighborhoods and why you should and why you shouldn't want to live there. If you're thinking of moving to a certain area that we haven't done a video on, we'll be glad to do it. Just hit us up, send us a text, or comment that down below. Appreciate you checking out the channel today. I hope you liked this video. If you did, hit comment, hit like. If you didn't, comment and let us know anyway. Have a great day, everybody.